Hi, I'm Melissa Davis, and welcome to Hello Prime Life, where midlife isn't a crisis, it's your comeback. My phone rings at 8 o'clock on a Thursday night. It's a close friend. And before she even finishes saying hello, I can hear the tight, exhausted edge in her voice. "I don't know what's wrong with me, Mel," she says. Then she laughed, but that bitter kind when you're trying not to cry. "We just moved to my dream location. I should be happy. There's so much to do here, so many possibilities." She paused. "But if I wasn't the one organising everything, making all the decisions, planning our days, staying on top of it all, nothing would ever get done. I thought when we made this move, things would be different, but it all still falls on my shoulders." Another pause. Longer this time. "So why do I feel like I'm stuck on a freaking treadmill that never stops? It's like I'm out there keeping everybody else's lives moving and supposedly living the dream, but inside I'm essentially a highly functional zombie held together by double-shot lattes and sheer bloody willpower." I waited for her to take a breath. "Settle, Petal," I said. "Here's what I'm hearing. You expected moving to change how you feel and magically fix things. But the location isn't the problem. You are. I don't mean in a broken way, more a you're the variable that matters way. And that's actually good news, because it means you get to do something about it. And knowing you like I do, you're already further along than you think." Today, we're zeroing in on 5 signs that prove your reinvention is already underway. The first sign? You've stopped dismissing that "is this it" question. It used to float by like background static you'd ignore, but lately it's become your internal soundtrack and you've started listening to it. And the first time you really sat with that question, you probably felt guilty, because asking "is this it" when you have a good job, a decent relationship, healthy kids, that feels ungrateful, doesn't it? Like you should be content with what you have, like wanting more makes you selfish. But the guilt is lying to you. You've been taught that your job is to be satisfied, not fulfilled. You look around a life that appears completely enviable to anyone else and think, "Is this it?" And because that thought terrifies you, you try to outrun it. You start reorganising the pantry by colour, or you buy an absurdly complicated skincare routine with 9 different serums, hoping that a radiant complexion will somehow fill the void. I've been there. I had a successful business, award-winning agency, national clients, growing team. From the outside, it seemed like I'd cracked the code. But underneath, I kept sensing there was something more significant I was meant for, something beyond what I was currently doing. The thing most people miss? Asking "is this it" isn't dissatisfaction, it's discernment. You're outgrowing, not ungrateful. Your life hasn't gotten smaller, you've gotten bigger, and now you're sensing the mismatch between who you are and how you're living. That question keeps showing up because you're no longer hiding behind "good enough." You're recognising that there's a gap between your current reality and your actual capacity. When "is this it" moves from complaint to genuine inquiry, that's the moment reinvention begins. What started as venting has become investigating. The second sign is you've stopped accepting exhaustion as part of the deal. You used to suck it up and explain it away. "I just need to push through it." Everyone feels like this. For me, it was Sunday nights. That sinking feeling that started creeping in before the weekend was even over. I'd tell myself it was normal. Everyone dreads Monday, right? But then it hit me. I wasn't dreading the work itself. I was dreading another week of being the world's best supporting character. I was exhausted because I was busy solving everyone else's problems while mine stayed on the back burner. That recognition? That moment when you aren't prepared to accept exhaustion as the cost of living, that's the shift. That's reinvention starting to take shape. You're done with depleted being your default setting. You're starting to ask better questions. What if my life wasn't supposed to be this draining? What if feeling alive wasn't a luxury I have to earn? When you stop defending your exhaustion and start questioning it, that's when change kicks in. But of course, change doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sign 3 shows up quietly. You start noticing what you're not doing anymore. This one crept up on me gradually. Looking back, I laughingly call it my fade to grayscale. I used to reach for bold colours without thinking. Bright reds, vibrant patterns, statement pieces. One day it dawned on me that I'd bought nothing but beige and grey and black for 2 years. Safe, invisible, forgettable. It took a friend dragging me into a boutique and handing me a bright blue dress that she told me was my colour and literally pushing me into the fitting room like I was a toddler refusing broccoli. I put it on and caught my reflection. Not the woman who'd been disappearing, the one who'd been there all along. I'd literally been dialing myself down. And that's when I realised it. It wasn't about the colours at all. I'd stopped believing I deserved to be seen. And a blue dress wasn't going to fix that. We're not talking about fashion choices here. We're talking about visible evidence that I'd been making myself disappear until someone interrupted the pattern. Maybe for you it's different. Maybe you always had an opinion about things and now you stay quiet. Or you were the one who used to make plans with friends and now you wait to be invited. Or you'd happily try new things and now you stick to what's safe. Perhaps you loved hosting dinner parties and now the thought exhausts you. Or you'd volunteer for everything without thinking twice. And these days you can't remember the last time you said yes. What's important here is this. Noticing what you've stopped doing is the first step to reclaiming it. Most women beat themselves up for lacking confidence or playing small. But awareness is where reinvention lives. You can't change what you can't see. So if you're suddenly aware of how much you've dialed yourself down, that's not losing yourself. It's the first step to finding yourself again. The fourth sign looks like research. Late night Google spirals about stuff you dreamed about doing once upon a time. Bookmarking articles about changes you haven't committed to. Saving Instagram posts about reinvention, just in case. Any of this sound familiar? For me, it was $1 Tuscan villas at 2 a.m, Paris apartments, anywhere but here real estate I couldn't afford. Window shopping for a different life while telling myself I was just browsing. But it was much deeper than that. You see, when you dive down those rabbit holes, your brain isn't daydreaming, it's planning. That shift from, can I do this, to, how would I do this, isn't curiosity, that's readiness. You haven't announced anything yet. You might not have even admitted it to yourself, but your subconscious is working on the problem. So here's the real question. Why are you still pretending you're just curious? Because deep down you already know, but you're waiting to feel brave enough to admit it. This isn't indecision, it's intel gathering. You're building a case, preparing yourself before you take the leap. So that hesitation you're feeling isn't cold feet, it's more like smart reinvention. Letting the idea marinate before you commit, which is exactly what conscious change requires. You don't have to wait to feel brave. The research is the bravery. Every article you save, every late night Google search, that's you choosing yourself before you're ready. That's courage in real time. And here's the big one. You've stopped asking permission. You've stopped running your ideas past people who aren't living your life. You used to float every thought, every plan, every possibility past your partner, your friends, your mother, even your hairdresser, waiting for someone to validate your choices and give you the green light. But lately, you've started making decisions without needing external validation first. Maybe it's small things, signing up for that class without checking if anyone wants to join you, booking the solo weekend away without apologising for it, saying no to commitments without offering 17 reasons why. Or maybe it's bigger, researching a career change before mentioning it to your spouse, looking at apartments in a new city before telling your family you're considering moving. You're not being secretive, you're being selective. And that's the moment everything shifts, from seeking approval to claiming your decisions. You're done waiting for approval that's never coming. You're done living by consensus. The only person who needs to sign off on your choices is you. Because what all that permission seeking was really doing was keeping you small enough that no one had to feel uncomfortable about your growth. You chose their comfort over your expansion and fulfillment. Every single time. Until you didn't. And that shift? Some people won't like it. The ones who genuinely care about your growth will adjust. The ones who only cared about your compliance might not. That's painful, but it's also clarity. That's when the preparation phase ends. Your reinvention is happening. If 2 or more of these signs showed up in your life, you're not preparing for reinvention, you're in it. If you're only seeing one, you're on the edge, but pay attention. The others are probably right behind it. The question isn't, should I change? The question is, what's changing right now? Reinvention doesn't start with a dramatic decision. It starts with small acts of awareness, paying attention to what doesn't fit anymore, questioning what you used to accept, reclaiming what you've given away. You don't need perfect clarity to begin. You need to drop the pretense you don't see what's happening. My friend on the phone? She's not stuck on a treadmill. She's in the middle of waking up. She moved to her dream location expecting external circumstances to change her internal reality. Now she's figuring out the work is internal first. That discovery isn't a setback. It's the starting point. Let me be clear about something. That unsettled feeling that won't leave you alone isn't your enemy. It's your guide. These 5 signs aren't proof that something's wrong with you. They're proof that you're done shrinking, settling, and second-guessing, and you're ready to elbow your way back into your own life. The truth? Nothing about you is broken. You haven't lost your way. You're reorienting. And you're certainly not starting from scratch. You're already reinventing. You just didn't realise it had a name. Perhaps you've been doing it for months, maybe years. The only question left is, how much longer are you going to pretend you don't see it? If you're ready to get clearer on where you stand, take the Hello Prime Life quiz. It'll help you figure out whether you're thriving, striving, or surviving, and give you a clear next step. You'll find the link in the show notes. In the meantime, here's your Prime Power Move for the week. Pick one thing from this episode that made you think, "Ooh, that's me." Now finish this sentence. I've been hiding behind, fill in the blank. What I'm actually ready for is, fill in the blank. Write it down. Look at it. Let it be true. Because clarity doesn't come from thinking more. It comes from seeing what's right in front of you and naming it, not denying it. Your prime life is calling, and you're already answering. You just didn't know it yet. Next week, we're tackling one of the biggest myths about midlife change, that transformation requires burning your whole life down. It doesn't. I'm breaking down micro-reinvention, how to redesign your life incrementally, strategically, and without torching what actually works. Because real change isn't reckless, it's engineered. Thanks for being here. I'll catch you next time.